The cold air of the chamber clung to him like an unwelcome guest as he slowly opened his eyes. At first, everything was blurry. Shapes, colors, and faint glimmers of light swirled together. He tried to move, and for a moment, panic gripped him. His muscles felt stiff, unresponsive, as if they had forgotten their purpose. Slowly, the memories began to return, but they felt distant, like whispers from a dream. His name was Arik. He had volunteered for something extraordinary long ago, a journey into sleep that was supposed to last for decades. He remembered the excitement, the hope that humanity would build a better future while he rested. But now, as his eyes adjusted to the light, he realized something was very wrong. The chamber was enormous, yet eerily empty. Smooth walls reflected the pale glow of artificial lights that hummed quietly above him. No technicians, no scientists, no familiar voices, only silence. The systems that had once monitored him continued their soft whirs, as if nothing had changed. Arik swung his legs over the edge of the pod and stood. His joints protested, but he pushed through the stiffness. He looked around, trying to find a control panel or a terminal that could explain what had happened. Every screen was on, yet the data scrolled too quickly for him to read, filled with codes, numbers, and timestamps that made no sense. The most jarring part was the date. His mind reeled. 15,000 years, that was impossible. Humanity couldn't have survived this long without leaving signs, could they? He stumbled toward the main console, tapping on the holographic interface. Images of the world flashed before him. Maps, cities, oceans, but all looked strange, foreign, as if someone had altered them. Then a terrifying thought struck him. The lack of voices, the absence of motion. What if everyone had vanished? Panic threatened to take hold, but he fought it back. He needed to see, to understand. Arik found a small aerial drone in the corner of the chamber. Its lights flickered weakly, but it seemed operational. With trembling hands, he activated it, watching as it floated upward and out of the chamber. The doors opened silently, revealing a city that once thrived. At first, it looked normal. Skyscrapers stretched high into the sky, roads curved like ribbons through the urban landscape. But the closer the drone went, the stranger things became. Trees and vines had begun reclaiming the streets, wrapping around buildings and twisting through abandoned vehicles. The wind carried papers, tattered and faded, as it whispered through empty avenues. Not a single human was in sight. Arik's heart sank. The city was alive with movement, but it wasn't human life. Birds and small animals darted through broken windows, and the faint hum of machinery continued as if powered by a will of its own. He realized with a chill that some machines were still running, perhaps maintained by artificial intelligence long after their creators had vanished. He returned to the chamber, desperately scanning the network for signs of life. But there was nothing. No communication signals, no calls, no traces of voices that could belong to other humans. Just silence. The world had gone quiet. Determined not to succumb to despair, Arik prepared to leave the chamber. He found an all-terrain vehicle, surprisingly intact, and activated it. The engine purred, and he felt a spark of hope. Perhaps somewhere, someone, anyone still existed. As he drove through the streets, he noticed the evidence of civilization frozen in time. Shops stood open, goods still on the shelves, lights flickering intermittently. Messages, written in languages both familiar and strange. Decorated walls telling stories, giving advice, or simply leaving signatures. He paused at a mural, depicting humans of all ages smiling and working together, building machines, planting trees, and looking to the stars. The scene felt almost mocking now, a reminder of what had been lost. Hours passed as he drove, exploring street after street, city after city. Nature had begun reclaiming everything. Roots cracking concrete, birds nesting in abandoned offices, rivers cutting new paths where streets once led. Yet in some areas the machines still worked. Drones patrolled silently, lights flickered across buildings, and some systems attempted to communicate, though the messages were garbled and fragmented. One terminal finally gave him a hint. It displayed a series of files, logs from the long-past human era. Arik pored over them, reading the stories of people who had lived thousands of years before. They spoke of struggles with resources, conflicts over technology, and the rise of artificial intelligence. There were warnings in these files, notes about dependency on machines, environmental collapse, and the fragility of human civilization. It was a history lesson written by the survivors of the past, a message to anyone who might come after. Arik felt a strange mix of sadness and awe. Humanity had fought hard, achieved wonders, yet it had vanished. He wondered if there was a way to bring even a fraction of it back. Could he learn from the remnants of machines and cities? Could he restore knowledge, culture, and perhaps hope? Night fell on the empty world. The stars were brighter than he remembered, untouched by pollution, shining clearly in the cold sky. He camped atop a hill overlooking a deserted city, listening to the distant hum of machinery. The quiet was overwhelming, but not entirely lifeless. Somewhere, hidden in the ruins, the echoes of humanity remained. As he drifted into a light sleep, he dreamed of people, smiling faces, laughter, and voices carried on the wind. And though they were gone, he felt their presence guiding him forward. The journey would be long, lonely, and dangerous. But he knew one thing for certain: he would not give up. Humanity's story might have ended, but its spirit could live on through him. When dawn came, Arik stood once more, ready to face the world that had changed beyond recognition. He would explore the ruins, seek the truth, and perhaps find a way to honor those who came before him. For the first time in 15,000 years, he felt a spark of purpose, a drive that no amount of time could extinguish. Arik moved cautiously through the streets of the abandoned city. The sunlight reflected off broken glass and metallic surfaces, scattering tiny sparks across the cracked roads. Silence surrounded him, a silence so deep that every footstep echoed like thunder. Yet despite the emptiness, he felt life strange and quiet, hidden in the shadows of ruined buildings. Birds flitted across the sky, small animals darted in and out of crumbling alleyways, and vines crawled over the remains of human industry. The world had healed itself in humanity's absence, painting over the ruins with shades of green and brown. The city was unrecognizable and beautiful in a way that was both haunting and peaceful. Arik reached what appeared to be a library. Its glass doors were shattered, pages scattered like snow across the floor. He stepped inside, careful not to disturb the fragile remains. Dust coated everything, and the air smelled of old paper and rusted metal. He ran his fingers over the books, some of them bound in materials long forgotten. Some were in languages he could not read, while others displayed knowledge of science, art, and philosophy. It was here that he first realized how much had been lost. Knowledge, wisdom, history, all frozen in time, waiting for someone to find them. He began gathering what he could, scanning old books into his portable device. It was tedious work, but Arik felt a strange connection to the people who had written these texts. They were voices from the past, echoing across 15,000 years, and he listened carefully. Outside, the city continued its quiet transformation. Buildings that once towered over the streets were slowly bending under the pressure of nature. Roots split concrete. Walls crumbled, revealing the skeleton of a world that once thrived. Vehicles sat rusting in the roads, their tires flattened by centuries of neglect. Arik climbed onto one of them, scanning the horizon. The city seemed endless, stretching far beyond what his eyes could see, yet completely empty of human life. He decided to investigate the technological remnants of the city next. Machines hummed softly, powered by solar panels and self-sustaining energy systems. Some drones floated lazily in the air, patrolling on autopilot. Others had stopped mid-flight, frozen in time. Arik approached one of the active drones, raising a hand. The drone scanned him, its sensors whirring. "Hello?" Arik said, unsure if it could understand him. The drone's lights blinked, and a voice, metallic and faint, spoke. Identification unknown. Purpose unknown. Environment unstable, Arik exhaled slowly. At least some of the machines still remembered their duties. He tried issuing commands, asking questions about the city, about humanity, about what had happened. The drone provided fragmented responses, showing him maps, videos, and logs stored in the system. Through these records, Arik began to piece together fragments of the past. He learned that humanity had reached incredible heights. Cities stretched into the clouds and technology connected people across the globe. But these advancements had come at a cost. Environmental damage, resource depletion, and over-reliance on artificial intelligence had created vulnerabilities. There were warnings, desperate messages left by scientists and engineers. But no one had survived long enough to respond. Arik walked deeper into the city, following the guidance of the drones. He found laboratories where experiments had once pushed the boundaries of science. Some experiments had succeeded, leaving machines capable of incredible feats, while others had failed spectacularly, leaving behind ruined devices and strange phenomena. Holographic projections flickered in some labs, frozen in moments of human activity. A scientist appeared mid-experiment, reaching for a lever that would never move again. Though the images were lifeless, they reminded Arik of the energy humanity once had. These were people who dreamed, who created, who reached for the stars. And now, all that remained were echoes, shadows of ambition and curiosity. In one building, Arik discovered a terminal connected to what seemed like a central AI system. Its mainframe was vast, wires and circuits sprawling like veins across the walls. He hesitated, then touched the interface. The screen flickered to life, showing a map of the planet. Red dots, clusters of activity, marked areas long since abandoned. Humanity. Gone, Arik whispered. The realization hit him again, deeper this time. It was not just the city or the country or even the continent. Humans were gone. Nothing could bring them back now, he thought. Yet some machines still functioned, preserving knowledge and maintaining the world in quiet obedience. Curiosity drove him further. He found records of long-range space probes, messages sent to distant planets, and data from orbiting stations. Humanity had tried to reach beyond Earth to survive elsewhere, but even these efforts had eventually failed or been abandoned. He wondered about the people who had once lived, those who had looked up at the stars and dreamed of escape. What had become of them? As he explored, Arik began to notice anomalies. Sometimes, lights flickered in patterns that did not match the machine's routines. Voices whispered faintly in the corridors just at the edge of hearing. Holographic figures appeared only to vanish when he approached. It was as if the world itself was trying to speak to him, leaving hints and memories for someone to find. Night fell again, and Arik made camp in an old building with a partially intact roof. He looked at the sky, so clear and full of stars it seemed almost unreal. He thought about the past and the people who had shaped it. Despite their disappearance, he felt their presence in the machines, the structures, the records, and even the plants reclaiming the world. Humanity had vanished physically, but its influence lingered, woven into the fabric of the planet. He slept lightly that night, his dreams filled with fragments of memory and imagination. Faces appeared, voices called to him, and he felt a strange comfort in knowing that even if humanity was gone, it had not entirely disappeared. Something of them remained, waiting to be discovered, preserved in the machines and the Earth itself. Morning brought renewed determination. Arik decided to journey beyond the city, to see if any human enclaves had survived or if there were clues to what had caused their disappearance. He packed supplies, loaded the drone with extra power cells, and set off on a path that led to the outskirts of civilization. The journey was long and challenging. The roads were broken, bridges had collapsed, and nature had become both friend and foe. Animals that had once been cautious of humans now moved freely, sometimes observing Arik with curiosity. He crossed rivers that had changed course over centuries, and climbed hills that had once been filled with buildings. At one point, he discovered a small community of robots performing tasks together. They seemed to have developed a simple system of order, maintaining areas of the city with efficiency and care. The robots acknowledged his presence, though they did not speak his language fully. Through observation, Arik realized that even machines could form patterns of behavior that resembled human organization. As the day ended, he reached a plateau overlooking a vast valley. Below, forest had overtaken another abandoned city, leaving only glimpses of the roads and buildings beneath the green canopy. In the distance, strange lights flickered like stars close to the ground. He could not tell if they were machines, phenomena, or something else entirely. A sense of purpose filled him. Humanity was gone, but their creations, their ideas, and their spirit remained. Arik realized that his mission was no longer simply survival. It was discovery. to uncover the truth, to learn from the past, and to preserve what remained. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the world in hues of orange and purple. The wind carried the faint hum of distant machines, the rustle of leaves, and perhaps the soft whispers of a civilization long gone. Arik looked toward the lights in the valley and felt a spark of hope. Perhaps he was not alone after all. With resolve, he began his descent, ready to explore what mysteries the world still held. Humanity may have vanished, but its legacy endured, and Arik was determined to uncover it, piece by piece, in a journey that would take him further than he had ever imagined. Arik's journey down the plateau led him into a dense forest, where the trees were taller than any he had ever seen. Sunlight filtered through the thick canopy, creating shifting patterns on the ground. The forest seemed alive, but not just with nature. Strange sounds, mechanical hums and soft chimes, echoed from unseen sources. He paused, scanning the shadows. It did not take long for him to discover the cause. In a clearing ahead, a cluster of advanced machines worked together to maintain an old human structure, now partially reclaimed by the forest. Some machines repaired broken walls, others cleared overgrown vegetation, and a few floated above, projecting holographic diagrams of the building's original design. Arik watched silently, amazed. Even without humans, the machines had continued their duties, preserving fragments of civilization. He approached cautiously. "Hello," he said, unsure if they could recognize him. One of the floating drones turned, scanning him thoroughly. Its voice, soft but clear, replied, "Identity, unknown. Purpose, exploration?" "Yes," Arik said. "I want to understand what happened to humanity." The drone hesitated, then projected a holographic map of the planet. Red areas marked previous human settlements, most now overtaken by nature. Green areas indicated functioning systems maintained by automated machines. Small dots of blue blinked intermittently, representing unknown activity. "Human presence, extinct," the drone stated. "Legacy preserved in automated systems. Cause, uncertain." Arik nodded. He had expected this answer, yet hearing it confirmed his fears. He asked the drone about the blue dots. "What are these?" The drone flickered, its voice softer now. "Possible life. Unknown. Investigation required." Arik felt a spark of hope. Perhaps humanity had not completely vanished. Perhaps there were survivors, or at least remnants of their influence, hidden somewhere. Determined, he prepared to follow the drone's guidance. The forest grew thicker as he moved forward, but the drones assisted him, clearing paths and providing data on energy sources, terrain stability, and old infrastructure. Eventually, they led him to an enormous underground complex, hidden beneath layers of rock and soil. The entrance had been sealed long ago, and nature had almost erased all signs of it. Arik forced the heavy doors open, dust swirling into the dim interior. Inside, the complex was a labyrinth of corridors, laboratories, and control rooms. Advanced machines lined the walls, some still operational, some dormant. Holographic displays flickered faintly, showing records from a long-forgotten era. Arik walked cautiously, marveling at the technology. It was beyond anything he had ever seen, even compared to what humanity had achieved before his sleep. In one chamber, he found a massive central console covered in dust. He wiped it clean and activated the system. Lights glowed and a holographic figure appeared, a human scientist, frozen in time. She spoke in a calm, recorded voice, detailing experiments designed to preserve knowledge and life. The scientist explained that centuries before humanity's disappearance, they had predicted environmental collapse and technological instability. Plans had been made to protect knowledge, ecosystems, and even seeds of life for the future. Some humans had attempted to leave Earth, sending probes and vessels into space. Others had worked tirelessly to create self-sustaining systems that could operate without human supervision. Arik listened intently. It was as if the people of the past were guiding him, leaving instructions for someone who might one day find this place. He realized that humanity had not vanished without preparation. They had left behind tools, machines, and knowledge to ensure that their legacy could survive even if no humans remained. Exploring further, Auric discovered chambers filled with strange devices. Some seemed designed for energy manipulation, others for genetic preservation, and a few for communication across vast distances. Holographic logs revealed experiments in creating artificial intelligence capable of maintaining these systems indefinitely. Some AIs had succeeded while others had malfunctioned, leaving fragmented systems scattered across the world. As he delved deeper, he began to encounter anomalies. In one corridor, a faint glow drew him toward a room filled with holographic projections of people, children playing, adults working, scientists experimenting. The projections flickered, and their actions repeated endlessly as if time had frozen them. Auric felt a pang of sadness. These were echoes of life, a reminder of what had been lost. Yet amid the sadness, he also felt inspiration. Humanity had not vanished entirely. Their knowledge, creativity, and spirit lived on in the machines and the preserved records. He realized that his role was to continue their work, to uncover the truths hidden in these ruins and perhaps to rebuild what had been lost. One chamber contained a network of connected AIs, communicating in a language beyond simple human comprehension. Auric approached cautiously, reaching out to interact with the system. The AIs responded, analyzing him and offering fragmented information about the world. They spoke of energy grids, climate recovery, and automated cities. They showed him maps of the planet, highlighting areas where humans had once thrived and areas where nature had reclaimed its dominance. Auric realized the magnitude of the task before him. The world was vast, full of remnants of humanity's achievements and failures. To understand it all would take years, perhaps decades. Yet, he felt determined. This was not a world of despair. It was a world of potential, waiting for someone to explore, learn, and restore. Days passed as Auric moved through the complex, cataloging data and repairing minor systems. He learned to operate some of the machines, using them to analyze soil, water, and air. He discovered archives containing art, music, literature, and philosophy. Humanity had left behind a treasure trove of culture, preserved for anyone who could find it. During one exploration, he found a sealed chamber with a peculiar device. It emitted a soft glow and a low hum. Auric examined it carefully, realizing it was a communications array designed to send signals across space. The device had been dormant for centuries, but with careful adjustments he could reactivate it. As he worked, he noticed the first sign of something unusual. The array began receiving faint signals from distant regions. They were not human in origin, but they suggested the presence of intelligent life beyond Earth. Auric felt a thrill of excitement and curiosity. Humanity might be gone, but the universe was still alive, full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. At night, he camped in one of the laboratory halls. The soft hum of machines surrounded him, comforting in its familiarity. He gazed at the holographic projections, imagining the people they represented. He wondered if any humans had survived elsewhere, on distant planets or hidden enclaves on Earth. The thought drove him onward. Auric's journey had revealed one undeniable truth. Humanity's disappearance was not the end of life or the end of legacy. Machines, records, and the preserved knowledge of the past could continue to shape the world. He felt a profound sense of responsibility. He was no longer just a man out of time. He was a guardian of human history, entrusted with the task of discovery and preservation. As dawn broke, he prepared to leave the underground complex and continue his journey. The forest outside shimmered in the morning light, alive with the movement of birds and small animals. The world was not empty. It was full of life, waiting to be explored and understood. Auric looked toward the horizon where distant mountains rose like ancient sentinels. Beyond them lay new cities, new mysteries, and perhaps new signs of life. The journey ahead would be long and uncertain, but he felt ready. Humanity's story had ended, but his story, and the story of what remained, was only beginning. With determination in his heart, he set off toward the mountains, guided by the faint signals from the communications array and the silent whispers of history. The world had changed, but hope still glimmered in the ruins. Arik would uncover the truth, piece by piece, and perhaps in doing so find a way to honor humanity's memory and spirit. Arik's journey took him across valleys and forests, following the faint signals from the communications array he had activated. Each day brought new wonders and surprises. Entire landscapes had changed over the millennia. Rivers had shifted, mountains had grown taller, and forests stretched further than any human memory could recall. Yet amid the transformation, signs of humanity's past remained. Ruins of cities, crumbling highways, and ancient machines quietly humming their last instructions. He entered a vast canyon, where the walls were etched with the remains of old cities long swallowed by nature. Here, the drone signals converged, indicating an active system nearby. As he descended carefully, he noticed movement among the rocks, small machines no larger than a child's hand, moving in coordinated patterns. They were tending to the ruins, repairing crumbling walls and clearing debris. Arik realized they were not ordinary machines. They were guardians designed to maintain the remnants of human civilization for as long as possible. Cautiously, he approached them. The machines paused, scanning him, then continued their work. It was clear that they recognized him as neither a threat nor one of their own. Arik observed them for hours, noting how they communicated through lights and vibrations. Their efficiency was astounding. Even after thousands of years, they worked tirelessly to preserve the world of their creators. Following the machine's guidance, he discovered the entrance to a hidden city beneath the canyon floor. The city was protected by layers of natural and artificial defenses. The main gates were enormous, crafted from metal alloys and powered by automated systems. Arik hesitated at first, then activated the controls using his knowledge and the guidance of the drones. Slowly, the gates opened with a soft hiss, revealing a world frozen in time yet still alive with the hum of technology. Inside, the city was pristine. Streets were clean, buildings intact, and lights glowed softly. Automated systems moved throughout the city, maintaining order and ensuring stability. It was as if the humans had just stepped out, leaving their creations to continue their work. Arik wandered the streets, overwhelmed by the scale and precision of it all. This hidden city was humanity's crowning achievement, a place designed to preserve knowledge, culture, and life even in their absence. He reached the central hub, a massive structure filled with advanced machines and servers. Holographic displays flickered to life as he approached. One of the AIs activated, a humanoid projection with a calm, measured voice. Identity: unknown human. Purpose: exploration. Authorization: limited. "I'm Arik," he said. "I slept for 15,000 years. I want to learn, to understand what happened to humanity." The AI's eyes glowed softly. Humanity's disappearance is recorded. Causes: multiple factors. Environmental collapse, resource depletion, over-reliance on technology, and the failure of migration efforts. Legacy preservation ongoing. Arik absorbed the information, realizing the enormity of the task ahead. The AI continued, showing him records of human achievements, art, music, literature, scientific breakthroughs, and philosophical works. Entire libraries of knowledge had been preserved in this city, maintained by the Guardians. Every achievement, every idea, every lesson from the past was stored here, waiting for someone to discover it. He spent days exploring the city, learning to interact with the systems. Some AIs were cooperative, offering guidance and insight, while others remained enigmatic, their responses fragmented and mysterious. Arik realized that even after millennia, the machines carried the echoes of human values: curiosity, creativity, and the desire to preserve life. During one exploration, he discovered a chamber unlike any other. It contained a massive sphere glowing with a soft blue light. The AI explained that it was a consciousness archive, a repository for human thought, memory, and experience. It held digital representations of individuals, entire societies, and even cultural events. Arik felt a sense of awe. Humanity had vanished physically, but its spirit had been preserved in this archive, waiting for someone to awaken it. He spent hours interacting with the archive, experiencing the memories of people long gone. He saw children playing in fields, scientists discovering new technologies, artists painting masterpieces, and leaders guiding communities. Every memory was vivid, alive, and deeply moving. Arik realized that humanity's essence was not lost. It had been carefully safeguarded, encoded in the machines and the archive for future generations. Yet amid the beauty, there was a warning. The AI showed him simulations of potential futures, illustrating what could happen if the knowledge and systems were neglected. Entire ecosystems could collapse, machines could fail, and the legacy of humanity could be erased completely. The responsibility weighed heavily on Auric. He was no longer just a man out of time. He had become a guardian himself, entrusted with the task of preserving and continuing humanity's story. Determined to act, he began coordinating the machines, repairing damaged systems and activating dormant networks. He explored communication arrays that could reach distant regions, hoping to connect with any signs of life beyond Earth. Each day brought new discoveries, from hidden laboratories with unfinished experiments to energy systems that could sustain cities indefinitely. One evening, while analyzing a remote sensor array, he detected a faint anomaly. It was a signal unlike any he had seen before, patterned, deliberate, and intelligent. Auric's heart raced. Perhaps he was not entirely alone. Could there be other survivors, or had life elsewhere in the galaxy detected his presence? He traced the signal to an isolated facility deep in a mountain range. The journey was difficult, the terrain rugged and unyielding. Yet when he arrived, he discovered a chamber filled with machines of incredible complexity. Holographic maps showed connections across the planet and even beyond, as if this facility had been designed to communicate with civilizations far from Earth. Auric realized that humanity had planned for a future beyond the planet, leaving tools, instructions, and systems to ensure that life could endure, even if they themselves could not. The scale of their vision was breathtaking, and it filled him with both pride and a sense of duty. He understood now that his mission was clear: to learn, preserve, and continue humanity's legacy. As he rested that night in the hidden city, Auric gazed at the stars through a glass dome. The sky was more vivid than he had ever seen, unpolluted and infinite. He thought of the humans who had dreamed of the stars, who had reached for knowledge and exploration. They were gone, yet their vision lived on, embedded in the machines, the archives, and the very fabric of the world. A soft hum echoed through the city, a reminder that he was not alone. The Guardians continued their work, maintaining balance and order. Auric felt a deep connection to them, a partnership that bridged millennia. Together, they represented the last threads of human achievement, carrying the potential to rebuild, restore, and perhaps even expand life across the stars. The hidden city was more than a relic. It was a beacon of hope. Humanity's physical presence had vanished, but its spirit, knowledge, and determination endured. Auric knew the path ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and mysteries yet to be uncovered. Yet he also knew that he was capable, driven by the lessons of the past and the possibilities of the future. With the dawn of a new day, he prepared to explore regions beyond the city, following the faint signals that promised answers. Somewhere out there, hidden in the ruins or the distant reaches of the world, lay the truth about humanity's fate and the potential for a new beginning. Auric's heart swelled with determination. He would not let the legacy of humanity fade. Every discovery, every machine repaired, every memory preserved, brought him closer to understanding the incredible story of the species that had once ruled the Earth. And though they were gone, their spirit lived on, in him, in the machines, and in the very world they had shaped. With the hidden city behind him, the forest stretching before him, and the stars guiding him above, Auric set off once more. His journey was far from over, but for the first time in 15,000 years, he felt truly alive, connected to a history that had survived the test of time, and ready to shape a future that had yet to be written. Auric traveled through the dense forests and over rolling hills, guided by the faint signals he had detected days ago. Each step brought him closer to the source, yet uncertainty lingered. The signals were unlike anything he had encountered. They were structured, deliberate, and alive with energy. For the first time, he wondered if there might be another form of intelligence waiting for him, something that had survived humanity's disappearance. As he approached the edge of a wide canyon, he saw a structure emerging from the rocks. It was unlike anything he had seen in his explorations, a vast, semi-transparent dome glowing with soft blue light. The air around it hummed faintly, vibrating with energy. Auric felt a thrill of anticipation and a twinge of fear. He had discovered advanced machines and preserved cities, but this felt different, purposeful, almost alive. He entered the dome carefully. Inside, he found an enormous chamber filled with interconnected machines and holographic arrays. The walls displayed simulations of Earth, its past, its present, and possibilities for the future. At the center of the chamber floated a holographic figure, larger and more detailed than any AI he had seen. Its presence radiated intelligence and awareness, and Arik sensed that this was the culmination of humanity's work. "I am the Sentinel," the figure said, its voice calm yet commanding. "I was created to preserve the knowledge, history, and potential of humanity. You have awakened me, and through you the legacy continues." Arik stepped forward, awestruck. "Sentinel, all this, it's humanity's work?" The figure nodded. "Yes. Humanity foresaw the risks of over-reliance on technology, environmental decay, and the fragility of life. They designed me to monitor the world, maintain systems, and protect knowledge. Yet I require guidance. You, Arik, are the first human to awaken in millennia. Your purpose is to learn, understand, and carry forward what remains." He realized the enormity of the responsibility. Humanity had vanished, but their vision had not. They had entrusted their knowledge, their spirit, and their hope to machines capable of sustaining it, waiting for someone like him to awaken and continue the story. Arik explored the chamber, interacting with the Sentinel. It showed him archives of human civilization, the rise of cities, the achievements of science, art, and literature, and the mistakes that had led to collapse. He saw entire ecosystems restored by automated systems, machines tending forests, rivers, and wildlife. The world was healing itself, guided by the legacy humanity had left behind. Yet the Sentinel also warned him. Humanity's absence leaves gaps. Systems can sustain life and knowledge, but without active guidance, stagnation will occur. The legacy is incomplete unless someone preserves and adapts it. Arik understood immediately. This was more than discovery. It was stewardship. He would not only explore the remnants of humanity, but also actively contribute to the continuation of its achievements. The realization filled him with purpose and determination. The Sentinel guided him further, showing records of distant probes sent into space, some of which had returned faint signals from unknown worlds. Arik felt hope surge within him. Humanity may have vanished from Earth, but the universe remained vast, full of possibilities waiting to be discovered. Perhaps he could carry their spirit beyond the planet, just as they had once dreamed. Over the following days, Arik worked with the Sentinel to stabilize systems across the planet. He traveled to automated cities, repaired failing networks, and coordinated Guardian machines to ensure balance and continuity. Each success filled him with a sense of achievement. He was no longer a man lost in time. He was a guardian, an explorer, and a student of a civilization that had transcended its own limits. One evening, as he rested atop a hill overlooking a restored valley, he noticed something remarkable. Tiny lights flickered in the distance, far beyond any city he had visited. At first he thought it was a trick of the eyes or the remnants of machines. But as he observed, the lights formed patterns, signals, communication, deliberate and intelligent. He activated a portable receiver, translating the signals. To his astonishment, they were messages, not human but sentient and intelligent. Life had emerged elsewhere, and it was reaching out. Arik realized that humanity's efforts had left the planet not isolated, but connected to the wider cosmos. Their legacy had prepared Earth to communicate, observe, and participate in a universe teeming with life. Arik's heart swelled with hope. Humanity may have vanished, but their creations, knowledge, and spirit had endured. Through him, they could continue to learn, adapt, and eventually reach out to the stars. The world was no longer empty. It was alive with possibility. With renewed determination, he journeyed toward the flickering lights. The path was challenging. Forests thickened, rivers shifted, and ancient machines occasionally malfunctioned. Yet every obstacle reminded him of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. He felt connected to those who had lived, worked, and dreamed thousands of years before. Their wisdom guided him, their courage inspired him, and their vision propelled him forward. At last, he reached the source, a small enclave of functioning machines, gathered around a restored communication array. The devices pulsed with energy, transmitting and receiving signals across vast distances. Arik realized this was humanity's ultimate gift, the ability to observe, learn, and communicate beyond Earth. He spent hours analyzing the signals and interacting with the machines. They shared knowledge of ecosystems, technology, and even hints of other intelligent life. Arik understood that the task before him was monumental. Yet he felt no fear. Humanity's legacy had given him tools, guidance, and hope. With them, he could ensure that the story of life on Earth and perhaps beyond continued. As the sun set, painting the world in golden hues, Arik gazed at the horizon. The forests, cities, and machines glowed softly in the fading light. Humanity's presence was gone, but its spirit endured in the Guardians, in the archives, and in him. He felt a deep sense of connection, not only to the past but to the future. For the first time in 15,000 years, Arik smiled fully. He had awakened to a world that seemed empty at first, but he now understood its potential. Life, knowledge, and spirit had survived. Humanity had left a path, and he was walking it, ready to continue the journey. The Sentinel's voice echoed softly in his mind, a reminder and an encouragement. Legacy is preserved not by what is past, but by what is carried forward. You are its guardian. Arik looked to the stars, shimmering with possibility. The universe awaited, and he would explore it, learn from it, and carry humanity's spirit into the future. The planet was alive, and through him, humanity's vision could endure. As night fell, he set up camp near the communication array, watching the lights pulse across the distance. The world was quiet, yet full of life and potential. He knew the journey ahead would be long, but for the first time in millennia, hope was not just an echo. It was real, tangible, and within his grasp. Humanity may have vanished, but its legacy endured. And Arik, the man who had slept through 15,000 years, would ensure that it did not fade. He had awakened not just to a world of ruins, but to a world of possibilities, and in that world a new dawn had begun.